Hey, so in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of actually understanding how to decide what type of commercial real estate portfolio that you want to have. Now, do want to say this: real estate portfolios, they can be a little bit challenging, but that's not to actually intimidate anyone. It just means that you want to understand the basics and how they are structured. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with alternative investments, which real estate is a alternative investment, you always have a lot more benefits by having alternative investments in your portfolio. So, with that being said, commercial real estate is a little bit different. Well, it's not just a little bit different. It is different from residential. One of the biggest things that differentiates commercial and residential is really the type of people that you're going to actually interact with, amount of resources that you're going to dedicate to various deals. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. There's a lot to cover. Okay. So number one, for your portfolio, you want to decide what type or types of commercial real estate you want to invest in. Most people will stick to just one specific type of commercial real estate, i.e., people will call this to be a food group. So of course you have things such as multifamily properties. That's the most popular one that people like to talk about is multifamily properties, aka apartments. You have mixed use properties or alternative properties. You have retail properties, such as when you go to the local store, it's a retail property. You have office buildings, self-explanatory there. And then you also have industrial. So believe it or not, I have seen a lot of investors that I've worked with transition from multifamily, when multifamily was really, really desirable and hot, quote unquote, and move over into more industrial. And a lot of people move more into industrial real estate to add to their portfolio just because of this huge company called Amazon, right? That likes to have various hubs throughout the United States. So anyway, those are the primary food groups, right, or types of commercial real estate. So pick and decide, which one do you think will have the best opportunity in your current market or in the future, and then decide, what are there specific markets that me and my team should focus on. If it's just you for now, then just do a little bit of research and figure out which food group goes best with which particular market. Okay. I will say this though as a quick little hint. Industrial real estate actually has a lot more benefits, speaking of the Amazon model, in areas throughout the Midwest that's really high on transportation. So like, for example, the state of Michigan, you can transport things obviously via railroad, but you can also transport things via Lake Michigan, right? So having industrial property that can be easily accessible through these different modes of transportation might be really advantageous for you. Okay. The next is what I'm going to consider this to be your mode of investing, right? And it kind of falls a little bit deeper into the operations, and even if you wanted to elaborate into what's called a investment thesis. But here's the deal: your mode essentially means how do you want to go about the acquisition and the way to operate the asset. So I'll give you a quick example. Do you want to focus on acquisitions or properties to add to your portfolio that's going to have what is considered to be lower risk as far as with debt? So you might want to focus on things that have a LTV that's maybe 50% or 40%, right? You want a lower risk asset. So if you have to sell it quickly or you have to be able to refinance it very quickly, you have a lower LTV. That makes it more advantageous for you and also for your partners that are in the deal with you. And that also helps you weather the storms throughout different things like, interest rate hikes, right? Or high vacancies, etc. Maybe due to an illness throughout the world. Could happen, right? People could move out of office buildings, etc. The next one is is something considered stabilized. And so a stabilized asset just means that from a lender's perspective, it is more of a consistent asset, has less risk. And this a lot of times has to deal with the occupancy rate. So a large factor of whether an asset is stable or not is its occupancy rate. So the occupancy rate typically has 80% or 85% or better. it is considered a stabilized asset. The next one is something that was really popular years ago called value add, and you can still do this now. What you're essentially doing is you're looking for assets that are underperforming, looking for commercial properties that are underperforming, and you want to purchase them at a relative discount. You want to do what's called a forced appreciation. So either you're going to increase the rents in the property, the income. You're going to maybe increase the performance, i.e., how it's viewed, the appearance, the appeal, etc. And you're going to then go ahead and get another evaluation, maybe an appraisal, to actually increase the value of that property. Okay, so that is called a value add play or mode. Last is, well, these two are kind of hand in hand, but one can be considered maybe more distressed or opportunistic type of buildings, and this just means that you might see a dilapidated building, or what others might perceive as a dilapidated building, but you see it as something better. You see it as what it could be. You see that it could be a gem for that local community, and so you're willing to acquire these distressed assets and invest a lot of upfront time and capital to go ahead and maybe restore them, right? It could be a historic type of building and basically make them into a gem later on. If that's within your investment thesis or your portfolio, then essentially what you're looking for are either opportunistic plays or distressed properties.